Chapter 11. Crossroads of Loyalty. Colonel Zeke Haywood sat alone in the dim confines of the military holding cell, the stark environment amplifying the sense of isolation that pressed heavily upon him. The cold concrete walls enclosed him, and the flickering overhead light cast jagged shadows, dancing like phantoms in the corners of his mind. He had always been a soldier, dedicated to the mission, but this felt different. A convergence of betrayal and uncertainty that threatened to unravel his sense of duty. He glanced toward the door, hoping for a sliver of comfort in familiar faces. Outside, guards with stern expressions shifted restlessly, eyes betraying their allegiance to an unjust system. Meanwhile, he mentally cataloged the failures that put him in this position, a mix of regret and anger simmering just below the surface. Moments later, the door creaked open, and in walked Captain William Jenner, his tall frame rigid, betraying no sign of the internal conflict Zeke knew must be brewing within him. The air thickened with unspoken tensions as Zeke locked eyes with him.
"Colonel,"
Jenner acknowledged with a curt nod, his voice clipped and devoid of warmth.
"William,"
Zeke replied, making an effort to keep his tone steady despite the unease curling in his stomach.
"you're the last person I expected to see here."
Jenner stood against the wall, arms crossed defensively.
"Orders, sir,"
he said, his voice strained, as if he struggled to make peace with the commands he was given.
"Orders."
Zeke chuckled darkly.
"That's one way to blind yourself to the truth, I suppose. But listen, this isn't just about following orders. You know me. You have fought beside me in more battles than I can count. I'm not the enemy here."
The silence grew, stretching between them, a chasm filled with years of camaraderie that now felt frail. For a brief moment, Jenner's stern resolve flickered. Something vulnerable danced in his eyes. Seizing the opportunity, Zeke leaned forward, urgency threading through his words.
"We both know that the old world order is crumbling. It's corrupting everything we fought to protect. If we don't act now, we'll lose everything. Not just our careers, but our very freedom."
Captain Jenner's face hardened, and Zeke felt the wind leave his sails. He had seen that look before, the conflict between loyalty to the system and the moral obligation to stand for what was right.
"That's a dangerous path you're suggesting, Zeke,"
he replied, trying to mask the uncertainty in his voice.
"What's at stake is more than just ourselves."
Zeke swallowed hard, contemplating the memories they had shared. He remembered nights spent strategizing over maps that charted their country's future, not knowing then how quickly those maps would change.
"Remember when we saved those hostages at Geneva?"
Zeke pressed, his voice low and intense.
"Do you think we acted out of self-preservation? It was about humanity. It's the same now."
For a heartbeat, they stood in a silence fraught with memory, each recall conjuring up images of brotherhood amid shared struggles. Zeke leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper.
"I have information that could change everything. Major Amma uncovered financial fraud, massive laundered operations, and General Berg is at the center of it all."
Zeke felt the air crackle with tension. The stakes had never been higher. The walls felt as if they were closing in, closing off any sense of hope. When Jenner finally spoke, his voice was a whisper, laced with the weight of his indecision.
"I can't, Zeke. Crossing Berg is a line I cannot afford to breach."
The finality in Jenner's tone was like a blade, cutting through Zeke's growing hope.
"What about your family?"
Zeke urged, each word aimed at the heart of Jenner's moral struggle.
"What will you tell your kids when they ask why you didn't stop this? They will ask, William. We both know it."
Panic flickered across Jenner's face, and Zeke could see the internal battle raging within. He thought of his own family, the sacrifices made, the ideals they had instilled in him. Would it all be for nothing if they remained silent? Before Jenner could respond, the tension was shattered by a loud bang echoing down the corridor. They both turned instinctively toward the sound. Zeke felt his heart race. This could mean alarms or worse.
We need to get you out of here.
Jenner finally said, decision crystallizing in his voice.
If someone has compromised this facility, everything is at stake.
Do you realize what you're about to do?
Zeke challenged, clinging to the fragile thread of trust.
You'll be putting everything on the line.
The line has already been crossed.
Jenner replied, resolve hardening.
I'll get you out, but we need to move quickly.
As Jenner turned to the door, the atmosphere shifted, thick with urgency. Just then, Lieutenant Mary Walker strode into the room, her authority palpable.
"Sir, we need to move,"
she commanded, her demeanor confident yet laced with the anxiety of the situation.
"We've secured a lead on Parsons' location."
Zeke faced Jenner, a glimmer of hope igniting within him, but the captain's eyes were now focused on Walker, wariness etched into his face.
Who authorized that?
He growled.
How could you act without intelligence?
They're after all of us, William. We can't afford to dwell on protocol.
Zeke interjected, a sense of urgency rising in him. Walker's gaze shifted between the two men, sensing the tension. We're running out of time. We can discuss the risks later. Right now, it's about survival. The room buzzed with an electric urgency. Zeke felt the weight of their choices crashing down upon them. This was a crucial moment, one where alliances would be forged in desperation.
"Get ready to move,"
Walker said as she began issuing instructions to prepare the team.
"If there's any chance we can catch Parsons before he's gone, we need to act."
Zeke felt both fear and exhilaration coursing through him. They had a chance, a flicker of hope against the encroaching darkness. He turned back towards Jenner, whose eyes were now filled with a mix of uncertainty and determination.
William, this isn't just about us,
Zeke urged, stepping closer.
This is about the future. To protect not just our families, but everything we fought for. Are you with me?
In that moment, their fates intertwined under a shared purpose, a lingering camaraderie reigniting a flame of hope in the face of insurmountable odds. As the preparations unfolded around them, Zeke couldn't shake the feeling that this would be the turning point, and together they might finally rage against the encroaching darkness.